Hello, everyone. Welcome back to People Pleaser Podcast. Today, I'm going to talk about something that a lot of people don't like to admit or like to talk about, and it is feeling behind in life. Sometimes we always compare ourselves to our friends, our peers, our family members, and society's timeline. This is something hard to overlook just because a lot of times, especially the people around us, can bring you down. You compare yourself on how come I'm not becoming this, or how come I'm not further along like these group of people. And sometimes you have to know about your capabilities and what you can do and not do. Most of us measure our lives through a timeline that we did not create. It's usually from society, school, or even our parents, and especially our family or our parents. They always created this image on like what they expect from us, and it gives you a lot of pressure to meet these goals or meet these standards that they want. And then once you can't achieve those goals, then you tell yourself that you're a failure, or they be telling you that you're a failure. But the truth is, life does not move in a straight line. It can move in seasons, pauses, breaks, and growth that we haven't seen yet, especially with school. So, to all my college people out there, it is very hard to not compare yourself or to see other people achieving much greater than you, especially if you failed one class or multiple exams, and it gives you a negative mindset that you can't do it. I feel like schools are structured in a linear way where they think that every student can learn the same way or become the same way, but in reality, everyone learns and moves differently. That's what I'm saying, that if you know your strength, if you know your weaknesses, then you're able to accomplish anything in life, and it wouldn't be as hard as you think it is. Sometimes, yes, it might take longer for you to get to point A to point B, but at the end of the day, it's still being done. That's why it doesn't really matter on how long you take in college. How I see it is like, doesn't matter how long you take in college, you're still getting your degree. Like, for example, let's say you have to take 5 classes next semester. If you know you're not capable, and if you know that you're going to fail those classes, then take a few classes so you don't set yourself for failure. Taking little classes doesn't mean that you're weak or you're incapable on getting your degree. You just know how to work with yourself. And yes, a lot of people around you, right, might think that you're stupid or you're dumb. But at the end of the day, are these people gonna be paying your bills one day? Are they gonna be the one holding your hand at the job? They're not going to be there. And you have to focus on yourself to see what you can do and your capabilities in life. Because these people who are judging you, they won't be helping you in life. That's why you have to set yourself up no matter what it takes. So, other than feeling behind in school, a lot of people could feel behind in buying a house, getting married, landing the job career that they want. I always believe if it's meant to be, then it's gonna happen. And sometimes you wanna force certain things, like let's say you wanna buy a house. Well, if the market is really bad, then it's not meant for you to buy it at this time. Maybe later down the line, it'll be a better time and maybe a better house, a better place, and it will all come naturally to you. You know that social media amplifies all this, and what social media doesn't show you are the bad parts, the struggles, and especially with a lot of content creators, a lot of people are not going to see or want to show you the bad side of things. So you don't know what they're struggling or what they're going through just because they're afraid on what people might think of them. And that's why this whole thing on feeling behind in life is because we always see people going to these places, they're achieving these things in life and everything, and I'm not hitting all these goals. But you don't know the backstories on how they got to that point. And what social media want to show you is only the good parts. And those are the only good parts that people want to show. But life rarely follows a script. Some people just bloom earlier or bloom later, and there are some detours you have to take, or you might have to restart entirely. But being behind often means you're just taking a different path, but it's not the wrong one. The one way that you should look at it is that feeling behind is actually a growth because you might have outgrown old goals, chosen healing over rushing, or refused to settle for what wasn't right. And progress isn't visible. It could be internal, but at the end of the day, it still counts because sometimes we're just so hard to ourselves and that we only think about the negatives. And we don't even tell ourselves, hey, good job, we accomplished small things. Sometimes what I like to do is to write what my goals are for, let's say, for the week. And I will check off on certain things I've done, and I give myself a pat on the back on these little things that I've accomplished, even though they might be small for some people, but at the end of the day, you've accomplished something. And a lot of us like to just think of like the big things, like, oh, graduation or landing a big job. No, it could be just passing an exam. That's an accomplishment. It might be small, but it's still something that we still have to praise on because if we keep thinking about, oh, how come I'm not able to do these goals or how come I'm not achieving in life? Honestly, we are. We just have to praise certain little things that we have accomplished in life to get to this point. And yes, there's emotional weight to feeling behind in life, which is like guilt, shame, anxiety, and the most important one is self-doubt because you might question yourself if whatever you're choosing in life are actually correct or that the path you're taking is it going to be the right one. And it's really hard to say that whatever path you're taking is the correct one until you try it and to see if there's any results or not. And you shouldn't blame yourself for not moving fast enough in life because these are all what society is pushing you. And being hard on yourself wouldn't make you move faster in life. Because if you keep beating yourself, all it's going to do is going to make you stagnant. And we want to achieve our end goal. The most important thing to get out of this is that we all move in different paces in life. And if you know your strengths, and if you know your weaknesses, then you could be unstoppable. And don't feed in on what people are telling you because all it's going to do is create this negative bubble that you're going to keep reminding yourself that these people are watching you or keeping tabs about your downfall. These people don't matter. They really don't because you have only yourself and yourself to rely on. Yes, it could be really hard because you might feel embarrassed that a lot of people around you are so-called, quote, achieving much better than you, but these people are not going to be the one buying your house or getting your degree. It's only you and yourself that you have to get where you want to get in life. So be it. If you have to take a step back in life, then do it. We have to put our egos away on having the idea of that we're a failure or that we're just not good enough in life. Life is honestly so interesting just because you just don't know what hits you and you don't know what life brings you. There are some days that are harder than others, and there's other days that it's happier, but we also have to emphasize that the good days also, and we can't just all think about the negatives. And I feel like the negative is something that we always linger on easily and is always heavy in our minds. But sometimes we always have to also remember that, hey, we also accomplish good things in life too. And we also have to praise that. If you take every day a step by step basis, it'll be easier to see the end of the road to any goals that you want to achieve. Like how I was saying about writing out your goals, I like to do that with my week when I know I have a lot of things to do and I don't want to like fall behind with it or miss anything. But it could be like small things like, oh, I've accomplished going to the grocery store to buy my produce. And yes, it might be a little silly and like, why is she praising about going to the grocery store? No, I'm praising the fact that I got it done. And I think that's what a lot of us tell ourselves when we don't get things done. We're like, oh, we're such a failure. Oh, I'm not doing that great in life or feeling behind in life. And if you positively praise yourself on little accomplishments, even though it might be silly, which is like, oh, I gotten the mail today, or I went to class today. That is something to praise about because at least you've done it and accomplished it. It literally follows up with bigger accomplishments in life, which is getting the job position you want, graduating, or buying a house. And I feel like it will make life look more positively outwardly instead of just praising only the big goals in life. And don't get me wrong, yes, there are days where there are a lot of struggles and like I said, like life just hits you randomly and you might have to deal with certain situations. Let's say something happened in life and it's making you sad. Go do something that makes you happy, which is go get that ice cream, go talk to your friends, go to your favorite store you want to go shop at. It will make you much happier. It might distract you on the negative of what's happening. And I'm not saying like distracting, like, okay, we should put aside it and never think about it again. It makes life feel more balanced. I just don't want people to feel like, okay, life is just only negative and only bad things are happening to me in life. No, you could also switch it around and you could do those positive things that you want to do and make life more like a balance instead of, oh, just only see the negative things because it's really hard to unsee the negative things in life. And going back to the whole feeling behind in life, once you control your emotions with it, which is feeling the balance, you won't feel as stuck in life as you think it is. And yes, life is hard and life can throw you so many things, but it really depends on how you handle it also. So by controlling your emotions or planning on how to achieve certain things will also help you on getting past certain situations. And having a support system is such a vital thing to have because if you have people to talk to or let's say family members to talk about it, it makes you feel much better knowing that you have people backing you up and supporting you. And it goes back to like my first episode talking about friendships. We want good supportive friendships. You want a good supportive group or supportive person to be there for you when times are rough. Because I'm not gonna lie, life will be hard and we will be going through stuff one day and we would want someone to be there for us to actively listen when we're mad, sad, and honestly even the good times too. Once you unlearn about the idea of being behind in life, you start to feel that life is endless because once you stop thinking about a timeline or a social norm that society is creating for us, we have unlimited time. And there shouldn't be a deadline. Of course, like, if it comes to work and there's a deadline, yes, follow the work deadline. But I'm talking about any goals that we set ourselves or anything that does not affect people, then we have unlimited time in life. And it doesn't really matter how far or how long it takes. And I do have some people in my life who are much older than me and they're going back to school because they want to achieve a certain goal. They don't have to be 18 or 19 to start college. No, you can start college anytime you want. And it doesn't matter when you start it or when you finish it because at the end of the day, you're still achieving that goal. And there's nothing wrong of being old in college. There's nothing wrong with that. I feel like you should give a lot of props that you want to get your education, you want to achieve a certain career, you're willing to do all these things, and you're bettering yourself. Sometimes we're just hard on ourselves because that's the only thing that we only see. There are some people who strive on being hard on themselves just for them to achieve, put pressure on them, but you just won't be satisfied in life then. Life is such a beautiful thing that we all need to experience the goods and the bad. And it can't just be all bad things in life. So we are near the end of the podcast. A daily affirmation I wanted to share with you guys is that I am not behind. I am on my own timeline. My journey does not need to look like anyone else to be valid. And that is so true. We don't need people to validate. We need to validate ourselves. And it's hard to unlearn because other people are not living our lives. We're living our own lives. And you only have yourself and yourself to create your life. I hope you guys like this podcast and I will see you soon. Bye.